let's talk about Karl Marx's theory of alienation, which I think, in my opinion, is the most fascinating part of Marxist theory. According to Marx, alienation is the psychological, existential, and experiential condition caused by the conditions under capitalism, specifically the exploitative nature of capitalism for workers. Alienation refers to the way workers become estranged from their own humanness because of the exploitative nature of their labor, and because they're performing this labor in a system where profit is prioritized over human need. Marx talks about alienation throughout his works, but I think where it's most clearly expressed is in his economic and philosophic manuscripts of 1844. If you are using the free PDF version from Marxist's Internet Archive, then you will find the chapter on alienation, which is titled Estranged Labor, on page 28. So Marx talks about 4 different dimensions of alienation. Firstly, we get alienation from the product of their labor. Workers do not own the products of their labor, and in many cases they will likely never even be able to afford what they are producing in factories. But it's not just even the product that doesn't belong to them. Their own labor does not belong to them. Their labor is being exploited for the profit of the capitalist. Not only is the product something external to the worker, it is something that the worker has been exploited in the making of. In a way, the product seems to have power over the worker, because the more the worker produces, the more the worker is being exploited. Then the second dimension is very closely related to the first, and that is alienation from the process of the production itself. So obviously, whatever workers are producing is not something that they have chosen to produce, it's not something that they were involved in the design of, and of course, the labor itself is repetitive and mechanical, especially with the introduction of automated machinery into factory work. So the process of this production is purely a means to survive. It doesn't speak to the nature or the character of the worker as a person himself, and is not anything that a worker can identify with on a personal level. So in this way, both the products and the process of creating the products are alienating. Then thirdly, we get alienation from other people, whether it's from your family or from your fellow workers. So under capitalism, workers compete with each other for wages. Work is very precarious, and that can slowly start to break down solidarity between workers who should be unionizing and unifying against capitalism. And Marx writes that every relationship becomes mediated by money in a capitalist society. Social bonds become merely transactional. So in this way, the worker is isolated and estranged and alienated from his fellow man. Then lastly, we have alienation from species being. So Marx believes that we as humans are creative and social beings. The essence of being human is to create, and we want to see parts of ourselves in the things that we create, and we want to have connections with our fellow man. But capitalism directly blocks this because of the things that we just mentioned. Capitalism instrumentalizes creativity. Everything under capitalism is reduced to productivity, and it limits what we as humans can choose to do, because at the end of the day, we need to survive. And that, as a result, takes a toll on our creativity and our connections with other people. So, in a word, capitalism takes away our ability to self-actualize and self-realize. So this is an alienation from our own humanity, from our own sense of self.